Hey there, fight fans! Welcome back to Takedown MMA. In today's video, MMA World reacts to UFC 285. Dana White shuts down possibility of Francis Ngannou's UFC return. Charles Oliveira and Eddie Alvarez divided over McGregor vs. Chandler. Mark Hunt blasts Jon Jones and the UFC. But before we get into the meat and potatoes of today's top stories, we'd appreciate it if you subscribe to our channel and hit the bell icon next to it. Jon Jones is the greatest MMA fighter of all time, and he proved it yet again by making it look comically easy against Cyril Gane at UFC 285, where he won by submission in a little over 2 minutes. In the first minute of the fight, the two fighters engaged in a kickboxing battle just to get the feel of things, but as soon as Jones got his hands on Gane, the Frenchman ran out of ideas. Jones took him down, put him in uncomfortable positions, and choked him out with a beautifully executed guillotine at 2 minutes and 4 seconds in round number 1. The New York native will likely defend his title against Stipe Miocic next, and we can't wait for that blockbuster of a fight. Meanwhile, here is how the MMA world reacted to the GOAT's biggest moment. In the UFC 285 co-main event, Alexa Grasso shocked the world by submitting Valentina Shevchenko in the 4th round of their flyweight title fight. Shevchenko was in cruise control of the bout until she missed a spinning kick, allowing Grasso to take her back and choke her out within the next seconds. Needless to say, the MMA world was lit up after the Mexican's monumental victory. Elsewhere on the main card, Shavkat Rakhmonov kept his perfect record and finish rate intact by submitting Jeff Neal by a standing rear naked choke in the 3rd round. The fight was bananas while it lasted, and we're pretty sure it would have forced many of you to jump out of your seats. Here's how the MMA world reacted to the biggest win of Rakhmonov's career. Another rising star who impressed at UFC 285 was Bo Nickal, who made a blistering start to his UFC career by submitting Jamie Pickett in the 1st round. Here's what the MMA world had to say about him. Dana White has revealed there's no way back in the UFC for Francis Ngannou. The former UFC heavyweight champion parted ways with the UFC in January due to a contractual disagreement. The Cameroonian was offered a whopping $8 million to welcome Jon Jones to heavyweight, and if accepted, the deal would have made him the highest paid heavyweight in the promotion's history. Ngannou turned it down because he still wasn't impressed with the money that was on offer, plus some of his additional demands, including sponsorship rights and health insurance for fighters, weren't met by the UFC. A few days after parting ways with the promotion, however, Ngannou said that he would be open to making a return to the UFC, because he doesn't take business dealings personally. Unfortunately, Dana White does. In a recent media appearance, the UFC president dismissed the possibility of revisiting negotiations with Ngannou.
No. We negotiated with him for years.
So it's over?
It's over. That's over. Yeah. Yeah, I never say never, but I'll give you a never on that one. Yeah, we tried.
When asked if he'll still go forward with his plans to hold a UFC event in Africa, despite the fact that the promotion has parted ways with the continent's biggest MMA star, Dana responded positively.
Oh, we absolutely will. That doesn't have anything to do with any one guy. It's like saying we'd never go back to Mexico without Cain Velasquez, or you know what I mean, something like that. Yeah, we're going everywhere regardless. I mean, if you look at some of the fights that we put on with the nationalities.
Despite Dana's discouraging remarks, Francis Ngannou has nothing to worry about because the sky is the limit for the most violent man in MMA. He's quite in demand and has already received callouts from boxing phenoms like Tyson Fury and Deontay Wilder, with the latter offering him a 2-fight deal, which includes a boxing showdown and an MMA fight. Former UFC lightweight champions Charles Oliveira and Eddie Alvarez are divided on who will win the blockbuster fight between Conor McGregor and Michael Chandler later this year. McGregor is currently coaching the latest edition of The Ultimate Fighter opposite Chandler, and the two will square off at the end of the season, which will be released at the end of May. Being the global superstar that he is, a McGregor fight always attracts millions of eyeballs, and fans and pros alike have already started talking about it. Charles Oliveira, for instance, is backing Michael Chandler to get the job done come fight night. I don't think McGregor's going to win. I mean, he's a guy that sells. He's great to promote, and people love his fights. But I don't think he's going to win. So I don't have to deal with it. I believe Chandler is an explosive fighter. McGregor hasn't fought in a long time, so I believe Chandler is going to win. McGregor wasn't very pleased to hear Oliveira's prediction and fired back at him by telling him to shut up in a series of tweets that were later deleted. Having fought both McGregor and Chandler in the past, Eddie Alvarez is well aware of their strengths and weaknesses, and he thinks the Irishman will be too tough to handle for his opponent.
If I had to guess, Mike Chandler don't wrestle. So, I mean, if he stands with Connor's going to knock him out. So, and it's a mismatch because Mike Chandler's defense sucks. He doesn't have good defense boxing. He throws bombs, but Connor's way too fast and way too quick to get hit with anything Mike Chandler's throwing. So I feel like, I don't know. I feel like Mike should wrestle and wrestle quickly and use that. And if he doesn't, he's going to be a bad night.
The fight between Chandler and McGregor will likely take place in either August or September, which means the Dublin native will make his return more than 2 years after suffering a doctor's stoppage loss at the hands of Dustin Poirier at UFC 264, where he broke his tibia seconds before the end of the first round. Interestingly, Chandler is also coming off a loss to Dustin Poirier at UFC 281, where he was submitted in the third round after 2.5 rounds of their action-packed battle. Mark Hunt is quote-unquote sick of content related to Jon Jones and the UFC popping up in his Facebook feed. The former heavyweight contender has been at odds with the UFC since forever and filed the famous RICO lawsuit against the UFC in 2017, a year before parting ways with the promotion. In the lawsuit, Hunt claimed that the UFC allowed Brock Lesnar to fight against him at UFC 200, despite knowing that he tested positive for a banned substance before and also after the bout, which was later ruled a no contest. To say that the Super Samoan hates steroid users would be an understatement. In a recent Facebook post, Hunt launched a massive attack on the UFC and Jon Jones, who has a long history with performance-enhancing drugs. Sick of this rat company all up in my feed. All they do is promoting steroid using rats like Jon Jones. Listen up, it's the world heavyweight title of a worthless rubbish belt worth nothing. You got a steroid-using rodent like Jones who runs over pregnant women and hides under the octagon when USADA is trying to drug test him. UFC is equal to joke belt. The only thing that you are the world champion of is being exploited. That's why the UFC will never be credible, because they have rodents like this being considered GOAT. Hunt most recently competed in a boxing match in November last year in Sydney, where he defeated rugby sensation Sonny Bill Williams by technical knockout in the 4th round. That's all we have for you today. If you liked our video, please subscribe to our channel and hit the bell icon so you get notified the next time we upload one. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.